Okay, we've considered the letter of the law of fasting. Let's consider the spirit of fasting. Okay? To which to feel no aggravation? No, we do so. No pain, no gain. Think about it. Our penance is we have to feel it. So let's consider the spirit of fasting. Let's consider the fast laws of a century ago, or even half a millennia ago, or a millennia ago. Okay? Take out Golfine. Read what he says on fasting. Take out Garanger. Let's go to St. Thomas Aquinas. He devotes a question, or maybe even a whole article in the Summa to fasting. One of the questions is 3 p.m. the proper time for the faster's meal? Fasters used to eat 1 meal a day. At one time, I believe it was meatless. When I say meatless, back then it was meatless, cheeseless, milkless, eggless. I mean, you read some of the saints. I was reading this morning. Bread and water. Whole wheat bread and water. Okay? So this law has been relaxed over the centuries, mainly because of our own personal weakness. That's why we're permitted up to 3 meals to maintain strength. So let us consider fasting. For some of us, the minimum of the law may be all we can do this year, especially if it's our first year of fasting. But can't we do more? Can't we reduce our meals below? I mean, if I am accustomed to eat meals that would fit in the normal law of fasting every day, on a day of fasting, and I reduce my small meals, maybe even the big meal. Maybe I should delay breakfast a half hour, an hour, if my duties permit. These are all things to think about. How can I acquire the spirit of fasting? Maybe I can eat simpler food. The law may not require me to omit eggs, but maybe I'm going to cut eggs out. These are all things we can think about. And let's consider why we might want to think about this. Okay, let's consider the body. The body, at our death, goes to the cemetery. The soul, heaven, hell, or purgatory. Study your catechism to figure out how and why you go to either place, and what you need to do to go to heaven. Okay, the body goes to the cemetery. The body cannot be punished for the sins it's brought on. Eating too much, listening to the wrong things, spending too much time looking at the computer or the television, or any of the other sins that the body can commit. The body cannot be chastised for these sins in the next life. The soul will go to purgatory and will have to suffer for the sins it permitted the body to do. So, we can all make a good spiritual confession. In fact, the Ember Week coming up is a good time to do it. Possibly Ash Wednesday, maybe both. And then again in Holy Week, we can think, okay, body, you have let me down, and I'm bringing you into subjection. Didn't St. Paul says, I chastise my body and bring it into subjection? We need to punish our body now when we can, because the soul may have to suffer for years for what we might be able to expiate right here for little penance on the body and the soul, cooperating together to make atonement for our sins, to beg God's mercy. And so let us chastise the body and bring it into subjection. St. Basil said, honor ever the ancient practice of fasting, for it is as old as the creation of man. We must fast if we would return to paradise from which gluttony expelled us. Think. Part of original sin was gluttony. We must fast. And we must remember, one of the marks of the true Christian is fasting. Jesus was chastised when his apostles didn't fast when he was here. He said, when the bridegroom is here, they do not fast. But when the bridegroom's gone, they will fast. The bridegroom has been taken from us. They can take our churches. They can take our priests away from us. They can take from us the holy sacrifice of the Mass, which they've done. The bridegroom has been taken from us. They can't take penance from us. No matter what enemies of the church do, we have penance. So let us take up the cross of penance. Let us charge forward. And let us fast and pray for the restoration of our churches, of our Mass, the Holy Sacrament of Confession, the priesthood, everything the church needs. But even when that's restored to us, let us not forget the mark of the true Christian: fasting and penance, especially obedience to the fast laws of the church. Over the last half a century, how could we identify a true Christian? Especially during the vacancy from 58 to 90. Christians observed the fast laws of the church. Non-Christians didn't. That was the separation. That was sometimes the only separation we had. That's the only way we could tell a Christian from a non-Christian, was fasting. And let us start back and take a look at Lent in general for a minute. I call Lent a spiritual spring cleaning. I've heard now from several places it takes 21 days to establish a good habit. And Lent's not just about denying ourselves. It is about establishing habits of virtue. How do you get rid of vice? You implant the opposite virtue. Let us take the matter of meditation. Let's say I've already established a habit of meditation for 5 minutes each morning. And if I haven't, then it's about time I did. Let's increase that from 5 to 10 minutes, even if I have to get up 5 minutes earlier in order to complete my morning meditation and start my day out on the right foot. This is a good time. On Ash Wednesday, let us look. What virtue would I like to implant, increase, improve during this Lent? 21 days for a good habit. I might be able to get 2 good habits started by Easter time. And won't that put me on the road to heaven? But I won't get on the road to heaven unless I get off the road to hell. Take the exit off the road to hell and the entrance onto the road to heaven. Lent is a good time to do this. And let us close with a thought from St. John Vianney discussing public penance, which applies also to Lent, because originally Lent was a time of penance, and the imposition of ashes on the forehead of penitents was imposed at the beginning of their public penance, which continued up until Holy Week. They were reconciled so they could participate in the sacred mysteries of the Sacred Triduum, Holy Thursday, Good Friday, Holy Saturday. We have the imposition of ashes to remind us of the duty of penance. St. John Vianney tells us, during the whole time of penance, they had to keep away from all public functions and ceremonies, and have to live in retirement, to live on bread and water several days each week, and to give alms, all of these being means to give satisfaction to divine justice. And so, let us make this the best Lent of our life. This is the Lent we should become saints in. Not next Lent, not the one after, because we're not even promised to see the end of this Lent. And if someone should happen across this in the middle of the summer, fall, winter, now is the acceptable time. Now is the day of salvation. Benedicta potentis, Patris et Filii, Spiritus Sancti, sed super vos in semper. Amen.